Man, don't you just get tired of the amount of soap shreds you end up with? This isn't even half of it. But I'm going to use this today. We're going to do hot process, but I'm going to actually prepare 1 pound batch of soap and put this with it. So it's not going to be just melt down the soap shreds and put it into a mold. I'm going to actually make soap with this in it, in a crock pot. So we'll see how that goes. And the fragrance we're using today is coconut eucalyptus, because as we have learned in the past, coconut eucalyptus is a horrendous cold process soap fragrance. So we're gonna take advantage of our hot process moment. Sodium lactate, coconut milk powder to stick with the, the coconut theme, powdered sugar, kaolin clay, and some oatmeal that I ground up at some point in my life. So let's go melt down these soap shreds because it is perfectly good soap and we are not gonna let that go to waste. Here are the melted oils. I'm gonna go ahead and add some soap shreds. I'm really not sure how much to add. All right, maybe we'll let that heat for a while, and then I am going to add the lye water and then probably more soap shreds. And I wanted to share with you that my betta fish will be helping us today. This is Minamo. Boy, the flashlight's making her eye glow. I've had her for like 2 years already, since she was a tiny little baby. She's a good fish. We're gonna do a little bit of stick blending on this, see what happens. Now at this point, we've just got some shredded soap in there. Now we're going to go ahead and add our lye water. Stick blend a little bit. Now I think I'm going to throw in some more soap shreds. That's all of it. Let's see if I made a mistake or if this is going to work out okay. Okay, we'll see what happens. We're going to stir a little bit because it's bubbling. It's looking good. It's looking normal. Looks like we're in the Vaseline stage at this point. I think we're going to take it off the heat now. Our temperature is at about 186. So here we have our fragrance as well as all of our additives like our sodium lactate and our kaolin clay, and what else do we have in here? Powdered sugar. Oh, and some oatmeal. I'm gonna turn a little bit of this black in order to maybe get just a little bit of a minor design, I guess. Turning it black with activated charcoal. And yes, this was a last minute decision. I just figured since my batter is actually decently thin, and I don't think using an actual mica is going to make too much of a difference because of how brown it is. I thought, well, maybe I can get a little bit of a black. And we'll put our black in. And then try to do something there. And we'll keep going. Curious how this will look when we cut it. It's not super appealing at the moment, but maybe it'll look nice when we cut it, huh? Okay, it's the next day. Probably could have cut this earlier, but didn't want to. Came right out, didn't it? Whoa, that's pretty cool. Nothing like what I was expecting. I wonder what the rest of the loaf is gonna look like. Full of stars and meteors. What do we have next? Oh, okay, this is a little bit more normal, I guess. I like it though. I like it a lot. Nice. Very eclectic. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Cool. I like that one too. I'm happy I'm not seeing much for air pockets. That's good. I'm also really happy I decided to throw in that activated charcoal at the end because it really helps give a little interest to the soap besides all the little chunks. Ooh. Well, I think this was a perfect use of my giant bucket of soap shreds. Actually, it wasn't giant. I'm sure some of you have more soap shreds than that, but it was big for me. Big tub of butter full. Cool. I like this. Whoa. Looks like a bat. Sorta. I'm actually gonna cut this one to get some samples. So once again, it's too big. Another bat. Nice big samples here. Well, overall, I think this was a successful use of all of those soap shreds. All those soap shreds, and even more soap shreds were made from trimming up the sides, making these bars look nice, side stamp. Feel free to try this method instead of just melting down your soap shreds with some water. Go ahead and make a tiny batch of soap and just load it with soap shreds. Worked out really nice. Fragrance is good. Coconut eucalyptus. Watch out if you're going to do cold process. Actually, just don't do cold process with that fragrance. Smells good as a hot process soap. Use it for other things like bath bombs or candles or something. Well, we'll see you next time where we might make use of some more soap pieces and shreds and such.